The 2005 National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not have a specific statement that prohibits the use of Romex, which is also known as non-metallic sheath cable, directly feeding a dishwasher. However, the code emphasizes the importance of protecting all electrical wiring from physical damage. This protection is a fundamental requirement to ensure electrical safety and prevent potential hazards. Generally, the NEC mandates that Romex be installed in a conduit or another approved protective raceway in situations where it is susceptible to physical damage. The purpose of using conduit or raceways is to provide a robust barrier against impacts, abrasions, and other forms of mechanical stress that could compromise the integrity of the wiring. When considering the connection of a dishwasher, several factors come into play. Dishwashers are appliances that can produce vibrations and may be moved during maintenance or replacement. These vibrations and movements can pose a risk of physical damage to the Romex cable if it is directly connected to the dishwasher without adequate protection. Due to this potential for damage, it is a widely accepted and recommended practice to use flexible metal conduit, often referred to as flex conduit, to make the final connection between the Romex and the dishwasher's junction box. Flex conduit provides a flexible and protective pathway for the wiring, allowing it to withstand the vibrations and movements of the dishwasher without being damaged. This method helps to maintain the integrity of the electrical connection and ensures the continued safe operation of the appliance. The use of flex conduit offers several advantages in this application. Firstly, it provides a physical barrier that protects the Romex from direct contact with the dishwasher's metal frame, reducing the risk of abrasion or crushing. Secondly, its flexibility allows for easy movement and positioning of the dishwasher without straining the wiring. Thirdly, it helps to maintain a proper ground connection, which is crucial for electrical safety. Grounding ensures that any fault current is safely diverted back to the electrical panel, minimizing the risk of electric shock. To further elaborate on the requirements for protecting wiring from physical damage, it's essential to refer to specific sections within the NEC. While a direct prohibition of Romex to a dishwasher might not be explicitly stated, various articles address the general protection of conductors and cables. For instance, NEC Section 300.4, titled Protection Against Physical Damage, provides guidelines for protecting wiring in various scenarios. This section covers topics such as protecting cables and raceways from being damaged by screws, nails, or other objects, as well as protecting them from physical impact during and after installation. Furthermore, NEC Section 334, which specifically addresses non-metallic sheathed cable, outlines the permitted uses and restrictions for Romex. This section details situations where Romex must be protected from physical damage and specifies the acceptable methods for providing that protection. It's important to note that the interpretation and application of these code requirements can vary depending on local jurisdictions and the specific circumstances of the installation. Therefore, it's always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or local electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. In addition to the NEC requirements, manufacturers of dishwashers often provide specific instructions for electrical connections in their installation manuals. These instructions may include recommendations for using flex conduit or other approved wiring methods to ensure proper grounding and protection of the wiring. Following the manufacturer's instructions is crucial for ensuring the safe and reliable operation of the dishwasher and for maintaining the validity of any warranties. When installing flex conduit, it's important to use the correct fittings and connectors to ensure a secure and watertight connection. The fittings should be listed for use with the type of conduit being installed and should be properly tightened to prevent loosening or leakage. It's also important to ensure that the flex conduit is properly supported and secured to prevent it from sagging or being damaged. This can be accomplished by using cable ties, clamps, or other approved support methods. The length of the flex conduit should be kept to a minimum to reduce the risk of voltage drop and to ensure that the wiring is adequately protected. A general guideline is to use the shortest length of conduit that allows for easy movement and positioning of the dishwasher without straining the wiring. When making the electrical connections inside the dishwasher's junction box, it's essential to follow proper wiring techniques. This includes using the correct wire connectors, ensuring that all connections are tight and secure, and properly identifying and connecting the ground wire. The ground wire should be connected to the grounding terminal in the junction box and to the grounding screw on the dishwasher's frame. This will help to ensure that the dishwasher is properly grounded and that any fault current is safely diverted. In summary, while the 2005 NEC may not explicitly prohibit the use of Romex directly feeding a dishwasher, it does require that all wiring be protected from physical damage. Due to the potential for vibration and movement, it is a widely accepted and recommended practice to use flex conduit to connect the Romex to the dishwasher's junction box. This will help to protect the wiring from damage, ensure proper grounding, and maintain the safe operation of the appliance. Always consult with a qualified electrician or local electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Now let's delve deeper into some specific sections of the NEC that are particularly relevant to this topic. Section 300.11, titled Securing and Supporting, addresses the requirements for securing and supporting wiring methods. This section states that raceways, cable assemblers, boxes, cabinets, and fittings shall be securely fastened in place. The method of support must not damage the wiring and must be appropriate for the type of wiring being used. This requirement is particularly important when installing flex conduit to a dishwasher, as the conduit must be properly supported to prevent it from sagging or being damaged. Section 314.17, titled Number of Conductors in Outlet, Device, and Junction Boxes and Conduit Bodies, provides rules for determining the maximum number of conductors allowed in a box or conduit body. This section is relevant when making connections inside the dishwasher's junction box, as it's important to ensure that the box is not overcrowded with wires. Overcrowding can lead to overheating and can make it difficult to make proper connections. Section 250, which covers grounding and bonding, is one of the most important sections of the NEC for electrical safety. This section provides detailed requirements for grounding electrical systems and equipment to minimize the risk of electric shock. Proper grounding is essential for dishwashers, as they are typically located in damp environments where the risk of shock is higher. Section 422, which covers appliances, provides specific requirements for the wiring of appliances, including dishwashers. This section addresses topics such as overcurrent protection, disconnecting means, and grounding. It's important to review this section carefully when installing a dishwasher to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. In addition to the NEC, local codes and regulations may also apply to the installation of dishwashers. These local codes may be more stringent than the NEC and may include additional requirements for wiring methods, grounding, and other aspects of the installation. It's always recommended to check with the local electrical inspector to determine the specific requirements in your area. When selecting flex conduit for a dishwasher installation, it's important to choose a type that is suitable for the environment. Liquid-tight flexible metal conduit, often referred to as LFMC, is a popular choice for dishwasher connections because it provides excellent protection against moisture and corrosion. LFMC has a flexible metal core covered with a waterproof plastic jacket, making it ideal for use in damp locations. Another option is flexible metal conduit, or FMC, which is a flexible metal raceway without a waterproof jacket. FMC is less expensive than LFMC but does not provide the same level of protection against moisture. When using FMC, it's important to ensure that the connections are properly sealed to prevent water from entering the conduit. In addition to the type of conduit, it's also important to select the correct size. The size of the conduit should be large enough to accommodate the wiring without overcrowding. A general guideline is to use a 3/8-inch conduit for most dishwasher installations. However, it's always best to consult with a qualified electrician or refer to the NEC to determine the appropriate size for your specific application. When installing flex conduit, it's important to use the correct fittings and connectors. The fittings should be listed for use with the type of conduit being installed and should be properly tightened to prevent loosening or leakage. It's also important to ensure that the flex conduit is properly supported and secured to prevent it from sagging or being damaged. This can be accomplished by using cable ties, clamps, or other approved support methods. The length of the flex conduit should be kept to a minimum to reduce the risk of voltage drop and to ensure that the wiring is adequately protected. The general guideline is to use the shortest length of conduit that allows for easy movement and positioning of the dishwasher without straining the wiring. When making the electrical connections inside the dishwasher's junction box, it's essential to follow proper wiring techniques. This includes using the correct wire connectors, ensuring that all connections are tight and secure, and properly identifying and connecting the ground wire. The ground wire should be connected to the grounding terminal in the junction box and to the grounding screw on the dishwasher's frame. This will help to ensure that the dishwasher is properly grounded and that any fault current is safely diverted. Finally, it's important to test the installation after it's complete to ensure that it's working properly. This can be done by using a multimeter to check the voltage and continuity of the wiring. It's also important to test the ground connection to ensure that it's properly grounded. If you're not comfortable performing these tests yourself, it's best to hire a qualified electrician to do it for you. By following these guidelines and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your dishwasher is properly wired and grounded and that it operates safely and reliably for years to come. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to err on the side of caution. If you're not comfortable performing any aspect of the installation yourself, it's best to hire a qualified electrician to do it for you. In addition to the points already discussed, there are a few other considerations to keep in mind when wiring a dishwasher. Firstly, it's important to ensure that the circuit breaker that supplies power to the dishwasher is properly sized. The circuit breaker should be sized according to the dishwasher's electrical requirements, which are typically listed on the appliance's nameplate. Using an undersized circuit breaker can cause it to trip frequently, while using an oversized circuit breaker can create a fire hazard. Secondly, it's important to use the correct size of wire for the dishwasher circuit. The wire size should be appropriate for the amperage of the circuit and the length of the wire run. Using an undersized wire can cause it to overheat, while using an oversized wire is unnecessary and can make it difficult to make proper connections. Thirdly, it's important to protect the wiring from physical damage during and after installation. This can be accomplished by using conduit, raceway, or other approved protective methods. The wiring should also be routed away from sharp edges, hot surfaces, and other potential hazards. Fourthly, it's important to ensure that the dishwasher is properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel, which helps to protect against electric shock. The ground wire should be connected to the grounding terminal in the dishwasher's junction box and to the grounding screw on the dishwasher's frame. Fifthly, it's important to follow all applicable codes and regulations when wiring a dishwasher. These codes and regulations are designed to ensure electrical safety and to prevent fires and other hazards. It's always recommended to check with the local electrical inspector to determine the specific requirements in your area. Sixthly, it's important to test the installation after it's complete to ensure that it's working properly. This can be done by using a multimeter to check the voltage and continuity of the wiring. It's also important to test the ground connection to ensure that it's properly grounded. Seventhly, when using flex conduit, be mindful of the bending radius. Excessive bending can damage the conduit and the wires inside. Check the manufacturer's specifications for the minimum bending radius. Eighthly, use appropriate strain relief connectors where the Romex enters the flex conduit and where the flex conduit enters the dishwasher junction box. These connectors prevent the wires from being pulled or damaged. Ninthly, remember to turn off the power to the circuit before beginning any electrical work. This will help to prevent electric shock. Tenthly, if you are unsure about any aspect of the dishwasher installation, consult with a qualified electrician. They can help you to ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. Considering voltage drop is also important, especially in longer runs. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage of the appliance is lower than the voltage at the electrical panel due to the resistance of the wires. Excessive voltage drop can cause the appliance to malfunction or to operate inefficiently. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop and for selecting the appropriate wire size to minimize voltage drop. Factors to consider are the length of the wire run, the amperage of the circuit, and the type of wire being used. Finally, be aware of the potential for corrosion, especially in damp environments. Corrosion can damage electrical connections and can lead to malfunctions or even fires. Use corrosion-resistant materials and connectors, and protect the wiring from moisture. Also, regularly inspect the wiring and connections for signs of corrosion. By taking these additional considerations into account, you can help to ensure that your dishwasher is wired safely and correctly and that it operates reliably for many years to come.